We live in uncertain times. The pandemic of 2020 caused many people to lose their jobs or suffer a reduced income. So amid this economic uncertainty, a lot of people are considering side hustles to earn some extra income. Makes sense, but some of these side hustles promise lots of money, but may not be quite as reputable as they appear. Oh yeah, we're going there. Let's talk multi-level marketing companies starting right now.
This is Debt Free in 30. Here's your host, Doug Hoyes.
She's back. We recorded a show in March 2020, but then the big bad virus came and we didn't get to air the maternity leave show until episode number 307 in July. But here we are. It's the fall of 2020, back in the studio, and she called me up and she said, "Hey, I'm getting upset with these MLM things. I want to talk about it." So I said, okay. So here she is. Welcome back, Julie Wildman. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks. Glad to be back.
Let's see if we can avoid getting sued here. So thanks for being here. Everyone can go to Hoyes.com and do a search for Julie Wildman. The last show I read your entire biography, lots of initials. I'm not going to do that today because it's only a half-hour show, but CPA, MBA, and of course you're a licensed insolvency trustee. So let's start with the definition, but what we're talking about. MLM, what are we talking about?
So we're talking about multi-level marketing companies, network marketing, selling, direct selling. They go by a lot of different names. They've been around for decades. So as an example, there's a very well-known makeup company. I mean, there's more than one, but in the 60s, when suburbs really popped up and became popular, the place to live, housewives were suddenly so far away from their department stores that they couldn't easily get their makeup and beauty products. So this company sprang up, and suddenly the friendly neighborhood sales lady could come right to your door to sell you your beauty products and from the comfort of your own living room.
Beautiful. And I don't know anything about makeup, as anyone watching this on YouTube will attest, but okay, there are, and that's one example. I'm sure people can think of other examples, and all you got to do is go to Google and search, top MLMs, and you'll see all the names. We're not going to mention names today because no sense me getting sued. It's not what I want to do. So, okay, what's the problem then? The way you're describing it sounds good. We got we've come through this big pandemic. I don't want to be going to the store anyways. So if I've got some other way to be buying stuff, that sounds like a good idea to me. What's the problem?
So the problem is, a lot of people would argue they look a lot like a pyramid scheme.
And a pyramid scheme is what?
So think about an upside down triangle as a business model, and think of someone like Bernie Madoff.
Ah, yes, Bernie, yes.
The everyone gets a cut kind of scheme.
Now, what Bernie Madoff was doing, as I recall, was he was taking money from you and giving money to you, so it made it look like the thing was actually generating money. These are not actually pyramid schemes. They may look like them, but they're not actually pyramid schemes. It's not like money is going from this guy just to this guy.
That's right. So the big difference is that these companies sell an actual product. So that's the differentiating factor between a pyramid scheme and an MLM.
Okay, so the products that they sell are like, why am I going to one of these places then and not just going to the store to buy the thing?
So the trick with the companies is they sell products that are exclusive. You can't purchase them in a regular store. So that's sort of their shtick. You have to buy it from either their consultants, coaches, representatives. Every company has their own little moniker for what they call their salespeople.
So, okay, so it's an exclusive thing. We've only got it with these particular guys. So walk me through then the process. How does it work? Tell me the story.
Okay. So yes, these companies do sell a product, but it's really not about the product. You're getting into a business that is a selling business and, most importantly, a recruiting business. What you're really doing is selling the dream.
The dream.
Yeah,
selling the dream.
Exactly. So the companies, when they're recruiting you, or they're going to tell you that you're an entrepreneur, come be an entrepreneur, but really you're a salesperson. You're selling their products, reselling their products, and you're earning a commission. So you're not actually going out to be an entrepreneur on your own, despite what they may be trying to tell you. What happens is you get recruited in and you have to buy inventory from the company. And then you turn around and you have to sell that inventory. Every time you make a sale, the person that recruited you, gets a commission from that sale. And the person that recruited them gets a commission from that sale. So it goes up in what's called an upstream.
So we're going to start this MLM company and we're going to sell the Hoyes Michalos Debt Free in 30 mugs, which are exclusive. You can only get them from us. So how would I set this up then? I'm the top guy in the pyramid, because that's how we're going to do this here. And so I recruit you and I say, okay, Julie, you have to buy, 3 cases of these, and you're going to buy them from me for 50 cents and you have to sell them for $1.
Yeah. So there's 50 cents of profit there, but as the person below you selling them, I'm not going to get to keep all of that. You're going to take a cut of that. And then for me to be able to make more money, I want to sell more mugs. So I'm going to recruit more people below me to sell more mugs. And every time they make a sale, I get to keep some of that. But I still have to kick some back up to you. So the real money is in building your upstream or building your downstream, a team below you.
And that's why it's called multi-level marketing. Exactly. So I'm the top guy and you're the second level. So I sell all these mugs to you, and then you've got people underneath you who are also doing the same. So it costs me, 10 cents to make the mugs. I sell them to you for, 30 cents. Mm-hmm. You're selling them to the end user for $1, or you're selling them to the person on the next level below you for 40 cents or something like that. And so the more levels under you, the better, because then that's how the profits all go upstream. So then how does the whole recruitment thing work then? Because that sounds like that's kind of the key to this, right? I want to get as many people underneath me as possible.
The key is building your team. And so now in 2020, it's all about social media. So any mom, especially that's online in any mom group or on Facebook or Twitter, will have seen the posts with the hashtags of, girl boss, boss babe, side hustle, stuff like that. And they're using slogans like earn extra money, establish a passive income stream, look after your family, retire now, be your own boss. It's
girl boss. That's actually a tag.
Oh yes.
Girl boss?
Hashtag boss babe, hashtag girl boss.
See, I'm so out of the loop here. I have no clue what is going on. And I mean, I can understand the pitch, earn extra money, establish a passive income stream, improve your health and your life, live your best life, be your own boss, be able to take care of your family, retire now. So this is something that would be really big on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
absolutely,
MySpace, AOL. I'm a little out of the loop on all this stuff here. So okay. What's the problem though? I mean, these mugs are beautiful and they're high quality and they're dishwasher safe, and you got to buy a mug. So what's the problem here? I mean, if I'm going to be buying a mug anyways, I understand someone's making a profit, but if I go to the store, the big box store, and buy a mug, the big corporation's making a profit. Yeah. Why can't the little guy make some profit too?
So the real problem is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, just like your mom would have told you. When you purchase the inventory, you're going to have to buy what they call a startup kit, let's call it. And you're going to get sometimes you get special perks in that too. So that's another way that they lure you in. You can only get this exclusive print on this legging if you get the startup kit. So you can keep that for yourself and sell everything else to your friends. But how are you going to pay for that startup kit? So if you're getting into this to make money, it's often suggested that you put on your credit card, because you're going to earn lots of money. You can pay it off, no big deal. Then you have to sell it. So do you know how to sell? Do you like to sell? Who are you going to sell this stuff to? Keep in mind, these products are expensive because, like we just talked about, you're building this downstream and there's this upstream above you. So everyone's getting a cut out of that. So in order to facilitate that, they're going to market that these products are of higher quality, but really they're building in the upstream payoff.
So that's the problem then, that because there are so many different levels, that the profit is being sucked out. And whether the product actually is better or worse than anything else out there, I guess, is remains to be seen. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the startup kit. So, okay, we're going to sell these mugs, but in order to sell the mugs, you've also got to have the little coasters that go under them. You got to have this and you got to have that. And there's a minimum order quantity. So you've got to put $1,000 or $5,000 or whatever it is into it. So, and if you're putting it on your credit card, I can see where there's a problem right there then.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see that.
And say you get a commission check in month 1, you still got to buy inventory next month. So was that commission check enough to cover the inventory, or are you putting more on your credit card to continue to build the inventory?
Yeah, because it's not like this is a consignment deal where you buy something from me and then I get the mugs drop shipped to you. I've already got the inventory. So I can see how that is certainly a problem. What then is the success rate for someone in this environment?
So what I'm going to say is that it's possible to make money in MLMs, but it is improbable. So I did some actual research.
Show prep here. Okay, tell us what you found out.
Some good statistics here. Basically, you have to be willing to work your butt off to make money. And the Federal Trade Commission says that out of 100 people that get into an MLM, 1 is going to make money.
Okay, so 1 out of 100 chance of making money. Those are not fantastic odds.
No, and they found that 50 people will quit in a year, 90 within 5 years, and 95 within 10 years.
So that's a pretty high attrition rate.
It
now,
is.
To play devil's advocate here, if you were to start any other kind of business, the failure rate is pretty high as well. I mean, most businesses are not there after 5 years. So I guess, I don't know whether this is a higher or lower attrition rate than a normal type of business, but the point is it's a pretty high attrition rate.
Exactly. And the AARP Foundation did another study, and they found that only half of 1% made over $100,000 in their entire time involved in an MLM.
So not per year, but however long you're there.
Exactly. And more concerning is that 47% of people involved actually lost money in the process. Not good.
It's not a good business model.
And a side note is that 18% of people that have been in MLMs declare bankruptcy as opposed to 11% of the general population. So that's also an interesting little tidbit.
So I guess I should be in favor of MLMs is what you're saying. So, well, okay, but again, let me, rein you in here. I know you don't like these things, but correlation is not the same as causation. Those are big words, but they don't mean the same thing.
Exactly.
So it could be that, a lot of people who go into MLMs go bankrupt, but it could be that they started off as they went into MLMs because they didn't have a lot of money. Maybe they already had debt. They'd been laid off from their regular job. They wanted to earn some money, so they went into MLMs. So they were already in a pretty vulnerable position when it started. And so it's not surprising that they ended up going bankrupt as a result. So, it may or may not be quite as bad as it appears. Have you actually run into people who have gone into MLMs and lost money?
I sure have. Yeah, especially like I mentioned, they do tend to target women in particular these days. It's an easy target market.
Why is that?
Moms that are at home with their little kids looking to supplement their income, especially right now with COVID, people I feel are quite vulnerable to the pitch to stabilize their income, bring in that extra little piece on the side. But think about if you had to put $10,000 or $50,000 into starting up this company. Some people are going to be able to justify that and say, "Oh, I'm going to make that back," but it doesn't stop there. So if you have a rough month of sales, you can bet someone in your upstream is going to suggest that you need to attend the conference that the company's putting on. They're not going to pay for you to go to that conference. It's going to go on your credit card. And they're going to, fill you with all of the company rhetoric about how to sell the product or, pump up your self-esteem and stuff and send you home. But you still got all that inventory to sell.
And so it's not just the inventory they get you, it's on all these other things too, which they probably don't tell you when you sign up that, oh, by the way, not only are you going to be buying the inventory, but we like you to go to 3 conferences a year.
Yeah. And the other trick is that some companies, in order to retain titles or status or the ability to order certain products, you have to make minimum sales every month. So you can get into a really awful cycle where you're only shy of, your sales target by $500. So I'll just buy that myself for the month and I'll sell it next month so I can get that product again. Yep. And you can see how it really quickly, this opportunity to make money becomes a bit of an anchor of debt.
And that's not a good thing. So I'm interested in your concept or your notion that this is something that in a lot of cases is directed at women, and I'm sure there are lots of MLMs for men too. I'm not obviously I'm completely oblivious to all of this, but and I understand that, I'm home with the kids, so this is a way to make money. And I remember when I was a kid, and again, I'm not going to mention brand names here because I don't know if they still exist or not, but that stuff you store all your food in that you snap
they're
it
still
together.
Around,
they still, yeah. So that goes in your fridge or whatever. And so you would have a party at your house where all the ladies would get together and buy their stuff. And I guess the makeup and the nutritional supplements, and there's a whole bunch of other ones as well. So, so I get that. And I can see that there's a potential problem there, but the problem isn't just the money, though. I mean, you've enumerated how the problems are money. I have to use my credit card to buy this stuff, and then I keep going into further debt to continue building my sales. But it's not just a money problem.
It's really not. So as I mentioned, you have to be in sales too, and also the recruiting. So you're constantly going to be on the prowl, whether you're trying to sell the product or recruit someone to be on the team beneath you. I mean, your friends, your family, anyone that you meet, in an elevator, everyone's going to be a target for you to potentially sell. And how many times do people want to hear the same pitch about the organic vitamins, the lip gloss, the leggings, whatever the product happens to be? How many times are you going to message someone before they block you on social media or before they stop, they start screening your cell phone phone calls because I don't want to talk about it again.
Well, and the debt-free in 30 mugs, let's not forget about those too. So yeah, I totally get that because I've got to sell and I've got my minimum sales targets. And if I don't sell, $1,000 this month, then I get knocked down to the old level or I get booted out or whatever happens. So towards the end of the month, I'm getting pretty desperate. I mean, just like going into a car dealership, I guess, if the salesperson has a quota.
They get a little pushier.
Yeah, they're a little pushier at the end of the month and not so pushy at the beginning of the month. So I guess you've really got to consider whether you want to put your friendships at risk.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you recruit your best friend into this company and they end up with a ton of debt. Who do you think they're going to blame for that?
Yeah, it was potentially your fault. So, okay, so practical advice. If I'm thinking of getting into one of these things, what are the kind of questions I should be asking in advance? What are the things I should be thinking about?
So think about how long the company's been around. If it's a long established company, chances are, there may be some more merits to it than others. Do you really believe in the product that they're selling? You have to actually like what you're selling or you're not going to be able to sell it. I mean, we know you're a big fan of the
mugs here
exactly,
because I actually use them on a daily basis. And the nice thing about these is you can put hot liquids in them. You can put cold liquids in them. You can have coffee. You can have water. I assume you could have alcoholic beverages. I don't know what's in yours, but mine have, of course, just have water in them. But so yes, I'm a big believer. It's like dishwasher safe. It's got a handle here, so you're not going to burn your hand. So I could probably do quite well with it. But you're right. If I didn't believe in it, if it's just like, okay, I got into this because I got to make some money because, we've gone through bad times in 2020. I don't have my regular job to get to. That's going to make it that much harder to sell, I would think.
Exactly, yeah.
So, okay, you want a company that has some heft behind it, perhaps not a brand new startup. You actually want to believe in the product, which I guess means this is a product you would use yourself.
Precisely, yes.
This is a mug that I would use myself. So a lot easier to sell something when you can say to people, yes, I use it all the time. What else?
Make sure there's demand for it. I mean, of course, there's demand for these lovely mugs.
Of course, absolutely. People drink liquids all the time.
Just because you like, the fancy scented candles doesn't mean that everyone in your extended friend group or family would like them. So you have to consider who you'd be selling it to and if there's a demand in that group for it.
They make candles that are scented?
Oh, of course.
Totally out of the loop here, people.
Other tips would be search to see online if there's complaints with the BBB about that company. Seek out some people that have been involved in it that aren't the people trying to recruit you to see what they have to say about the realities of day-to-day life in that company. Another big one would be to see if the inventory that you purchase is refundable, either partially or fully, so that if you do get stuck with something that you can't sell, that you can actually get some money back on it, rather than being stuck with boxes of, pine-scented candles in your basement. Try and make sure that there aren't the minimum purchases that we talked about. There are companies that have them and there are those that don't. So you would like to be involved in someone that you're really just selling what you want to and are able to sell, and you're not beholden to them for any additional inventory that you can't sell. And look at seriously how much the initial investment is and how you're going to fund it. Pro tip, don't use your credit card.
And I guess you've got to look at what is the company really there for?
Yeah.
So is the company there because they truly believe they have this great product and that's what they're going to sell? Or is it, no, it's really an MLM company and that's the only reason it exists?
Yeah, if the main focus of the company is training you in how to recruit more people instead of how to sell their product, you should be considering that as a pretty big warning flag. Or same thing if the strategy isn't on, the quality of their products and instead the quality of their lifestyle that you can achieve by selling the products, take another look at what you're selling.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if I've got a friend who's already into this and they go to the conferences and everything, the training seminars, which I guess are probably all done by Zoom now because we can't go anywhere, but if the training is all about here's what the product is, here's what the nutritional supplement is, here's what the different vitamins are, here's how it helps you and all that, okay, that sounds like a real product. Mm-hmm. But if all the sessions are about here's how you recruit other people, here are techniques for recruiting other people, it's all about recruiting, then okay, that's a focus on the MLM part and not on the product part.
Yeah, and just be wary of all of the people that do go to the conferences, because a lot of people who are successful or trying to be successful have spent hundreds of hours on their beautifully curated social media profiles, and they're going to post pictures of these gorgeous locations and having drinks on patios and all the girl bosses together. But just
girl bosses, that's a thing too.
Girl gang, yeah. Just keep it in mind what they're really there for.
Yeah, and social media is ultimately all pretty much fake. Like, you're right. If one of these wonderful mugs broke, I'm not putting that on social media.
Heck no.
Right? I would always make sure that the logo is facing the camera and it's always prominently displayed and everything. So you got to take all of that with a grain of salt. So, okay, you've talked about the financial side of it. And you said that, make sure you're not going into debt to, buy the inventory and the startup package and all that sort of thing. What about the non-financial, or what about other than the financial side of things? What are the kind of things you got to make sure you're top of mind thinking about there?
Do you like sales? Because you're going into a sales business, selling the product, selling the dream, as we talked about. And are you willing to work full time? Because the people who are successful at this are the ones that work really hard at it.
And when you say you like sales, so... okay, but all I'm going to be doing is talking to my friends.
But you're selling. You're selling them on the virtue of the lip gloss, on the virtue of the mug. You're not just having a casual conversation most of the time. You're actively trying to get them to buy and then buy more and buy again, come back over time and buy the more expensive one next time or more, or.
Yeah, and I can see a significant problem selling to my friends. When I get together with my buddies, we're talking about stuff. We're talking about the sporting event. We're talking about what's happening in the world, whatever. I wouldn't want to be getting together with them once a month for lunch and a drink and have to talk about, would you like to buy some more of these mugs?
Exactly. You have to think about how comfortable you are continually trolling those around you.
Right. And okay, maybe these are the most fantastic mugs in the world, but once they bought their mugs, am I going to be continuing to talk about them? And obviously the products that are suitable for MLM tend to be repeat purchase type things,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Home products, beauty products, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a huge component to this, really. Mm-hmm. That, okay, make a list of who it is you would be trolling, selling, and make sure that you actually want to be putting those people in that position. Now, this would be the same if I decided to go into the insurance business. Mm-hmm. I'm going to sell life insurance, property insurance, whatever. Okay, well, I'm going to be going and starting with all my friends.
Yep.
If I wanted to sell an investment product, it would be the same thing.
Same thing.
Is there any real difference in the thought process on that thing? Obviously with insurance, I don't have to buy the inventory first.
Yeah, that's a big one. You're not sitting on a bunch of inventory that you may not be able to sell. Insurance isn't really a repeat business, so you're not going to be going back to them month after month to try and get that quota up. And presumably in insurance, you're going to build, a reputation where people would recommend friends or family to come to you. You're not going to be seeking them out quite the same way. It's a slightly different sales approach. Now,
you mentioned that the people who are most successful are working full time.
Yeah.
And by full time, you mean, this is like a 40-hour-a-week kind of a job.
Yep, they're always online. They're always trying to find new and innovative ways to get in front of people and they do sell the product, but it's more of an afterthought still. It's really on the hustle and the selling the dream and recruiting the team.
And so you've got to decide whether that's the thing you like, mm-hmm. or whether it's the product itself you like.
Yeah, if it's the product that you really like, you may be better off just continuing to buy it from your, sister's friend or the girl who keeps messaging you that you went to high school with or whoever.
Yeah, I think that is a key point. The mugs are great. I need one every 6 months.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll just buy them from you. And okay, you're making a bit of money off it. Maybe I'm paying a little more than I would pay if I was the higher up the stream. But I've got no investment, no worries. I only buy what I want.
Exactly.
So if I am being trolled, to use your word, which you'll probably get sued for, Julie Wildman. Is that julie@hoys.com? Is that your email address? What's your advice then for someone on the other side of the desk? So you got this great, thing you're trying to sell me. Is it as simple as just saying, no, you know what, I can't buy it?
Well, ultimately, you have to do your homework on it. You have to see what you're comfortable with, and you have to decide if you want to take a shot at the MLM. Like we've laid out pretty clearly that the odds of being a big success.
Right, but I'm talking about as the customer.
Oh, as the customer.
So I'm the person who you're approaching to say,
yep.
Hey, would you like to buy the mug? What are some strategies for me? Is it as simple as just saying, you know what, no, I don't want to buy it?
Yeah, usually what you'll find is some people can get pretty aggressive with their sales, especially if they're near the month end or whatever. Mm-hmm. No doesn't always seem like enough. You have to be pretty clear with people. I'm not interested in this company or these products. You need to please stop trying to sell them to me. That much of a direct approach will usually get people to back off. The simple, oh, maybe next time, they'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you got to be very careful. And I guess the advice that you're giving to the person who wants to get into MLM is in some respects the same as the potential customer. And that is, do your homework on the product itself.
Exactly.
So are these vitamins really the best vitamins there ever were?
Yeah.
Or are there other ones that you can be buying, cheaper somewhere else that are just as good or better?
Yep.
Is it a product you actually need?
Yeah.
Or is it not? If it's, and if it is something you need, do you really need to be buying a fresh supply of it every single month forever? Or is it, less so? If you're being invited to the group gathering where this is all going to be discussed, remember, you're not going to a party, you're going to a sales pitch.
Exactly.
So I think
and feeling obligated to the host because maybe it's a friend of yours and you feel, oh, they gave me wine and cheese and crackers, I better buy something.
Right. Yeah. So maybe it's better just to not even show up at the party kind of a thing, because
exactly.
that's hard. And particularly in these times where cash is tight, we've gone through many months where our incomes perhaps were not what they would have been. Perhaps we've had additional expenses and everything. Yeah, it's really tough to. But I think you got to look out for yourself too. That's
exactly.
what this comes down to.
Yep.
So okay, so final thoughts. What advice do you want to leave people with here today?
Exercise caution. If you're going to get into the MLM, if you really have done your homework and you think it's the right thing to do, just be careful getting into it and try not to use debt to buy your way into it, and be careful using it as a strategy to get out of debt.
Yeah. Getting into debt is one thing. Trying to use it as a strategy to get out of debt is even worse. So I think the key problem you're identifying is if you're selling a product, you have to buy the product.
Yes.
Because in virtually all of these cases, it's not a consignment type deal. You buy the stuff and then you sell it.
Correct.
Which means you're fronting the cost. Do you have cash? So I guess if you're thinking of getting into MLM and you've got $10,000 sitting in the bank and you don't know what to do with it, and you're going to invest a few thousand in this, okay, that's one thing. But yeah, if you're putting it on your credit card at high interest rates, that's a pretty serious problem.
Gets a little scary then.
Excellent. So, girl boss, we've learned something here today. So that's awesome. Julie, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
So, just to be clear on this here, I am a big believer in hard work. I think you are too.
Of course.
I am a big believer, if possible, to have more than one source of income. And I think certainly in 2020, this has become very obvious.
Yes.
That if I have a job working at that company and that company had to shut down for 6 months because of the pandemic and that was the only source of income I had, that's a problem. If I had a couple of side hustles I could do, I had some other things I could do, then okay, maybe I'm a lot less vulnerable.
Yeah.
But getting a job part-time at the grocery store is totally different than starting your own business and starting an MLM type business.
Exactly.
Because there is a financial obligation that comes with it.
That's right.
And so I think you got to be very, very careful before committing some cash.
Yep.
Becoming a dog walker where all you've got to buy is a couple of leashes is a lot different than investing $5,000 in inventory. So I think you want to be very careful. And I'm a big believer also in side hustles where they don't cost a lot of money, and I'm not trying to take advantage of friends and family. I think that's a little bit better way to do it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Julie. That is our show for today. Thanks for listening. Until next week, I'm Doug Hoyes. That was Debt Free in 30. Matt.